Namaste everyone, this is Pooja. So today's video is about credentialing process for PCE, and you do the credentialing with CAPR. So I'm just going to talk about the credentialing process, how much does it cost, common mistakes that people made, and what things you should be careful about. So let's get started. Before we get started, I had one more thing that I wanted to discuss. I know a lot of you reach out to me on Instagram, emails, Facebook. You guys find me on Facebook and I have requests. And it's good. It's glad to be, I'm happy to be connected. If you have, specific issues, I'm happy to sort them out. But I'll also request you guys to leave your comments, especially leave your comments on what kind of video I should be making more, because when I decide what video should I make, I go through your YouTube comments and then I see, which ones are the common, what are the common questions that people have in mind, and then I make videos accordingly. So this credentialing video I made because I had a couple of emails. Then I had comments from Fedi Mohammadi, if I'm saying it right. I had comments from J with a Z at the end, Shahana Moideen and Aryan Sharma. All these wanted to know something related to the credentialing process. So I thought, let me talk about it. Okay, so please leave your comments below so I'll know what exactly I should be talking about, because that's a better way to reach out to everyone instead of, because there are times when I won't be able to respond in person, but you have a specific comment, you want me to talk more about it, then a video would be, helpful for you. And if you think it's a common mistake or it's a common error that other people make, if I make a video on it, might be it would help others too. So yeah, help me help others. Okay, so let's get started with the credentialing process. Okay, so why the credentialing process? Most of you know about it, so if you know about everything about it, this is not for you, skip, go ahead. Okay, those who are just starting out, because there are a lot of kids actually in their 11th and 12th grade. There are students in their second year of physiotherapy who want to know about who are interested in coming to Canada and who want to know about PCE. So this is for them. So credentialing technically is so that credentialing is done by CAPR. CAPR is Canadian Alliance of Physical Therapy Regulator. Now this is done to check that your education is not substantially different from what a Canadian educated PT would have. Okay, so it is, they don't check every course, but they want to make sure that you have an entry level physical therapy degree in your country, and they also want to see that if it is equivalent to the physiotherapy, whether it is equivalent to a bachelor's degree, that too in physical therapy in Canada. Okay, that's what they are looking for. So it is for all internationally educated PTs. Okay, let's say you have done your BPT in India and you did your masters in USA like me. Even then you'll have to do it because my entry to practice degree was from India, right? My BPT is from India, so that's why I have to do the credentialing with CAPR, because I am an internationally educated PT. But if I had done bachelor's and masters and everything from US, I would be exempt, because there are a few countries that are exempt from the credentialing. But most of the Asian countries, students have to go for the credentialing. Okay, so that's the first reason. And yeah, if you are going to work in Quebec or Yukon, then you don't need to worry about CAPR's credentialing process. They have a different assessment strategy for Quebec and Yukon. Okay, now what are they checking in credentialing? First, they are checking for 5 things. Okay, first is your identity documents, meaning they'll check your usually if you give your passport, it is good enough, so they're checking your passport. The second thing they're checking is your education. Okay, so if you are from India or Pakistan, or the countries surrounding those regions, most of us would have BPT as our entry to practice degrees, right? But let's say if you are from US, then your entry to practice right now is DPT. So that's a different scenario, but for us we just need BPT. And so that's what they're checking. They're checking your your education. Okay, now the next thing that they're checking in your education is you should have at least minimum of 125 hours of supervised clinical practice. Okay, not 100, I'm sorry, it's 1025 clinical hours. So 1025 clinical practice hours you need a minimum of 100 in musculoskeletal, minimum of 100 in neuro, 40 hours in cardiorespiratory. Most of the colleges, because we have internships starting from second year, so most of the colleges fulfill this requirement. Okay, but it's part of the requirement. So you have to give your passport, you have to give your education, you have to show your clinical practice hours. The next thing is your language fluency. Okay, so there are specific countries, again US, UK, certain countries you do not need to show your fluency in or prove your fluency in English. But if you are from India, Pakistan, China, Nepal, you have all the other Asian countries, Philippines, you have to prove your language proficiency so by giving IELTS or TOEFL. Okay, IELTS, you need academic 7 overall. Someone just asked me a question, I'm going to go for PR, and would my general IELTS work? No, your general IELTS doesn't work here. You need academic 7 overall IELTS, and the course should the IELTS should be, the result should be within the last 2 years. Okay, same for TOEFL, should be within the last 2 years, 92 or 21 in each component. That's the requirement. Okay, then there are other 2 tests. One is test CAN and the other one is CAN test, CAN CAN test. These two exams are typically taken in Canada for and I mean I haven't really researched much about it, but if you want, look into it. Most of us usually give IELTS or TOEFL. Okay, so that's your language proficiency. Okay, and the last thing that you have to do is there is a course that you have to do online. Okay, every internationally educated physiotherapist who are going through the credentialing process to sit for PCE exam has to go through this course. Okay, the name of the course is Knowledge of Physiotherapy Practice within the Canadian Healthcare System. It is given by University of Alberta. Okay, so this is the course that you have to do. Now the cost for this course is so the course itself costs you $425, but there is a $75 application fee, so overall it comes up to $500. Okay, we'll talk about when you have to do the course and how you will do it later on. Okay, now this is just a background of what they are checking, why they are checking and everything. Many people have the confusion in the forms. Credentialing is pretty simple. If you go on to CAPR's website, they have everything in super details. Okay, I also have gotten all my information from CAPR, and I have used their their infomercials, their videos to gain knowledge for this video. Okay, so please, if you want to be really diligent, go on to CAPR, go through their videos, go through their documents, read everything thoroughly, so you will be better informed. But this is the basic requirement, so if you go through this video, you will know the basics, right? Okay, so the required documents, there are 2 things that you have to 2 types of documents. One, you are going to send. The second, your university is going to send. Okay, what you are going to send? You are going to send form A, B and C. 3 forms you are going to send along with the notarized documents. Okay, what your university is going to send? Your university would send form D along with the requested documents. Now let's talk about the forms. So what is in form A? Form A is your application form. You write your name, your address, your details, your birth date and everything. Okay, and then you also you complete it, you sign it, you date it. And this form also has your credentialing fee. The credentialing fee is $1,088, right? That's the credentialing fee, and you fill up the credit card information in form A for your credentialing. So that's your form A, that's what you fill up. Form B, again you'll have to write your name, details, everything, and then it is basically an application checklist for you and also for your university. So this is the form where they'll ask you like, have you notarized and attached your transcripts and documents, whatever you have? Yes. Okay, tick. Have you added your clinical internship certificate? Okay, tick. So you have to tick all those things. So it's a good checklist for you. It would also give you a checklist for what you should be requesting from your university. Okay, you're already going to ask your university to fill up the form D, and it has all the requirements, so we'll talk about it later. So form B is just basically an application checklist. Okay, and if you are from India, Pakistan, Philippines, and from Egypt, you need to send in a notarized clinical internship certificate. Most of us, if you are from India or Pakistan, you know that we have clinical internships, and we'll have certificates after you finish your clinical internship, so you have to send it notarized. Okay, the notary has to be from a notary person. Do not ask your doctor or your or your school to just notarize and send it. It has to be from a notary person. Okay, that's really important. Then there is form C. Form C, you have to attach one passport size photo. Okay, and you also have to attach copies of supporting identity documents. So if you are supporting adding other documents except for your passport, you have to add those documents. It is well written in the form as well, and if needed, I'll make a specific video showing you all the forms and telling you what you should be aware of. Okay, so that's your form C. You fill up these 3 forms. Now along with these 3 forms, you send in copy of your entry to practice PT degree. For me, it was my physical therapy bachelor's degree. Bachelor's in PT degree, I have to have it notarized. And then I got it notarized from my bank in USA. So make sure you get it notarized with your notary public and not from your school or your doctor or any other, well-reputed person. Go to a notary public, okay? So these are the things that you are going to send. Form A, B, C, and your notarized documents. Okay, you are done. Now the second thing, your university has to send the main documents. Again, all the documents that you send to CAPR, it is for them. They'll not give you back. So do not send your original documents. I repeat, do not send your original documents. They will not give it back. It is their property now once you send it to them. So always send notarized copies, true copies, but not the original copy. Do you get it? Okay, good. Now from the university, you have to send form D. Now form D is document request form. Okay, you are requesting your university to send specific documents. Basically, you are requesting them to send your transcript and your all the 4 year or 3 years or 4 years of mark sheets that you have in your bachelor's degree. Okay, that's all you are asking for them. And it has a detailed list. You're also asking for the clinical supervision hours and everything. It has a detailed description of what and all is needed. All the official academic records your university is going to send. Okay, now for me, I am from Gujarat, so there were certain things that my college sent and there were certain things that my university is going to send. So whatever the university has given you, that is the university's responsibility to send. Whatever is given to you by your school, let's say the university, because for me, Gujarat University was the one who was taking the exams and giving us the mark sheets and the so the mark sheets, so that's what they sent to CAPR directly, but my school was giving us the transcripts or the clinical internship certificates, whatever my college was giving and the physical therapy college was giving, that's what they sent to CAPR. Okay, so whatever your situation would be, talk to your university about it or your college about it. Talk to them and get them to send the courier from the address where your school is located to CAPR. Now what many people do is they'll get all the documents. Some schools initially used to do it. They'll get all the documents, put it up in an envelope and then give it to you. That doesn't work. And then you send it from your home address. That doesn't work. CAPR would check. Let's say my college is in Ahmedabad, Bhopal, and if the courier is going from a different location, let's say satellite area or Science City area, some other area, and if it is going from that location, CAPR knows that the courier was not sent by my university or my college and they do not accept it. So make sure even if your university is telling you to do the courier, tell them that it is the university's responsibility to send it. Many universities do charge you extra for the courier cost, but pay it. Make sure it is from the address of your college or university and it's going directly to CAPR, signed, stamped and sealed. It should be sealed, it should be stamped. Okay, so those are the documents that you're going to send directly to CAPR. So that's your credentialing process. You have submitted documents from your end, you asked your university to send the documents, all of this is being done. Okay, now once you send in there, okay, once you send your documents, if let's say I had seniors from my college who had already gone and done their credential evaluation, so then mine is a case that's called a precedent case, meaning they had seen previous cases like mine from similar universities, so they know what to check for, so they'll do checking for those specific things, so it is easier for them to do the credential evaluation. So for cases who they already know about, it takes 10 to 12 weeks. If it is a totally new college, or if the student, this is the first student who's applying from a specific college, it takes them a few weeks more, so it might take them 16 to 18 weeks, but that's the time duration. Either it is 10 to 12 weeks or 16 to 18 weeks, but within that time frame they usually complete the credential evaluation. But we are forgetting one important thing: they would not complete your credential evaluation until and unless you send in your IELTS score. Okay, you have to send in your IELTS score only. So they'll start your application, they'll get everything started, but they would not give you a completion go ahead. They will not give you a report that says that your evaluation is complete until and unless you give them your IELTS score or your TOEFL score. Okay, and you also so during this 10 to 18 week period that you have the chance and the opportunity to finish the course that is given online. Okay, the knowledge of physiotherapy within the Canadian healthcare system. You have to finish this course online. As I told you earlier, it costs $500. The course that I did was given by University of Alberta. It's an online course, so you can do it from anywhere in the world, right? So you have to finish that course, submit your IELTS. Now wait for them to finish the credential evaluation. If they are lacking any documents, or if they need other documents, or if they think that this is not sufficient, they'll send you an email. Even in your forms, they'll ask you, how do you want to be connected? I would prefer that you say you want to be connected through an email, because it's quicker. Instead of them sending you a physical mail, it takes longer time. So say that you want to be connected through email, and then they'll send you the if let's say they say, oh, we are missing a transcript, or we are missing your clinical internship certificate. Okay, then you send it to them. So once they request a document, you have 60 days to send the documents to them. So this is your credentialing process in detail. Okay, now most of us want to know, how much does it cost? So the credentialing costs you $1,088. If you are now, they also charge you for sending you the results of your credential evaluation. So if you are in India and you're doing your credential evaluation from India, the courier charges they take is $125. They send it, I mean, not they take, they send it via FedEx or other courier services. But to send you your result of the evaluation, they charge you $125. If you are asking them to send the results within Canada, they charge you $45. So that is an added cost. For the course, you pay $500. So the total cost turns out to be $1,713. Okay, and you add $250 more for your IELTS score. So the total comes out to be somewhere between 1,900 to 2,000 Canadian dollars. So it's somewhere around 90 to 1 lakh rupees, 90,000 to 1 lakh rupees, Indian rupees I'm talking about. So that's the cost. That's just for your credentialing. Okay, if you think about written exam, the written exam is for $1,002. The practical exam is $1,813. And once, let's say you're lucky enough, you get everything done, your licensing, to just get your license, once you're cleared everything, to get your license, you also have to pay $695. So it is a costly process. Overall, it would cost you anywhere, if everything goes smooth and everything is done in one go, it would cost you somewhere around $5,423, rounded up to $5,500. Okay, Canadian dollars. So yeah, that's my take on the credentialing process of for TCE. If you guys have any other questions, do leave a comment below. If you want me to make videos on a specific topic, do leave a comment below. I definitely go through all your comments, and if those comments make sense and make sense to me, meaning if I know about those topics, because some of you are asking me questions about specific questions about express entry or how to immigrate to Canada. That is not my strong point. Physical therapy and the credential evaluation, the licensing exams, that is definitely my strong point. But immigration topics, I'll tell you whatever I know, but it is not my strong point. One more thing, I don't know if I told you or not, the credential evaluation is valid for the next 2 years, right? So once, let's say you applied in January, you got your results by April. Now from April 2020 you have 2 years, so till April 2022 you have 2 years to take your first PCE written exam. Okay, there are 3 trials for written, 3 trials for practicals, but within that 2 years you have to give your first written practical exam, or else your evaluation is no longer valid. You have to get everything done all over again. Okay, reopen the file or get the evaluation done all over again. So don't do it too early, but you should know that you have 2 years. So let's say if you're planning to come after a year, and if you want to start the evaluation process, you're still in India or any in your home country, get the process started so that you can save those 10 to 18 weeks. You can get the online course done and get a quick head start for your PCE. So all the best, stay safe, and keep posting the comments. Share the videos that you think would be helpful to your classmates or your colleagues or your friends, so that you can also help them about getting more knowledge about studying abroad or being a physical therapist abroad. Okay, so all the best. I'll see you next week. I'll see you next video.